for. Dr. Peter Huntington is a renowned equine veterinarian and nutrition specialist. He has held key roles in research, industry, leadership, and international consultancy, including Director of Equine Nutrition at Kentucky Equine Research. A respected educator and author of Horse Sense, he is widely recognized for his contributions to the equine health, nutrition, and the global horse industry.
Mr. Peter, you may start your presentation. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for the introduction and thank you for the invitation to be part of the forum. I think it's a fabulous idea that the many horse enthusiasts that India has try and unite to try and achieve progress and development in the way your horses are cared for in India and facilities you have to ride them in or to race them in. I've been coming to India for 30 years or over 30 years and have seen massive changes in that time, but still there's many challenges in feeding horses in India. And if my slide will change. It's not so good. What's happened here? There we go. So you have, I think the major challenge you have is there's very limited grazing, and grass is one of the great feeds. Grass is the most important feed that horses have, even though if we've got race horses or high performance horses, they don't have much or any access to it. But I think particularly in raising young horses, in managing horses that aren't really high performance horses, the lack of grazing is a real challenge. And then the second thing is that because of the climate, if people do grow grass, they're growing tropical or subtropical grasses that aren't as productive as the grasses that we might have in temperate climates, like in Australia or New Zealand or Europe or the US. So that means the horse doesn't get as much out of them. The lack of grazing means that horses spend too much time in stables, and that has an impact on things like colic, also on bone density and on behaviour issues. So the time in stables is not great. And then if you're replacing grass, the horse needs forage. If they don't have grass, they have to have it in hay, and Indian local hay is generally very poor quality, high in fibre, low in digestibility, low in energy and protein. So that's a real challenge. Grow some decent grains in India, but the oats that are grown locally tend to be inferior in terms of energy to, say, Australian oats or other imported oats, if that's what you're feeding. Climate stress can have an effect on the horse and also on the feed, and there are some particular challenges related to climate stress. When I first came to India, there were nobody making horse feed. Now there's only a few dedicated local manufacturers, but they tend to, I live in a big country in Australia, but you live in a very big country. And so you need manufacturers spread out across the country to reduce the time and expenditure in terms of moving feed around. Imported feed has improved the standards in some areas, but there are some real issues around it. So Why is grass important? And I think this terminology, Dr. Green, is really appropriate to show what grass can do. And there's certainly some of the more committed, successful breeders in India have put a lot of effort into trying to grow grass, and at different times of the year we'll have some. So grass is a great source of calories, which is energy, of protein for growth and muscle development or milk production in a mare. It's a source of fibre, of minerals, but particularly vitamins and omega-3 fatty acids. And they're things, the vitamins A, E, and K, that you'll get in green grass that you won't get in hay, same as omega-3 fats. Many horses in Australia can live outside all year round. They thrive on grass alone. When they're working, can drain out, mucus can drain them out. So that head down feeding posture is very good. The movement's really important. Horses have been shown to move between sort of 7 to 15 kilometres a day, depending on the size of the paddock and the amount of grass they have. And that's one of the factors in why you get less colic. It's also probably why you get less vices and you have more happy horses in that environment. So ideally you have some grass, but maintaining it in India is not very easy. The main thing is to pick in the area you are. If you are going to try grass, you've got to look at what grass species grow well in that area. Yes, I'm sure you're going to need irrigation. Is the water clean? Because if you're irrigating with dirty water, then that's not going to give you a good result. You're going to get many other problems. To make grass work, you've got to have low stocking rates, and you've got to have the ability to rest paddocks, and so rotate them to allow them to recover, and even to allow you to replant paddocks as they become sort of weed infested. Horses are not great for paddock health or for pasture health, because they tend to graze, overgraze some areas and undergraze other areas to sort of roughen the smooth effect. And that means that you get weeds coming in areas where they've stood a lot, around feeders, near gateways, etc. And so you need to rejuvenate paddocks from time to time. But the subtropical grasses, as I said before, lower nutritional values, and particularly the anti-nutritional factors. And the key one of them would be oxalates, which you find in many subtropical grasses. And that's something that ties up calcium. So it reduces calcium digestibility and can lead to the condition called big head, or nutritional secondary hyperparathyroidism. And you have bone weakness, general stiffness, lameness, and sometimes an increased risk of fractures. And it's most evident physically in the facial bones that expand in size, which is why it's called big head. Time in stables, what happens there? What are the negatives of time in stables? I mean, in India, you need to keep horses in stables often to escape the heat, to escape the monsoon, and because that's where you're going to feed them. And you've usually got plenty of labour, so bringing them in and out isn't an issue. But it's all a change from the way the horse evolved. So you get more behaviour issues, you get dust, respiratory health problems, certainly have more colic. The more time you have in stables, the more colic you have. The exercise is a contributor to lack of exercise, is a contributor to that, and a contributor to the behaviour issues, more gastric ulcers, and more stable vices. So there's lots of negatives about having horses in stables, and you should try and really have them in there for a minimum amount of time. So to replace grass, we need other forage. The horse has an absolute requirement for forage, which as a supply of fibre for digestive health. But Indian hays tend to be low in energy and low in protein. Now, luckily, you have alfalfa as an alternative, or lucerne. It's called alfalfa in the US, lucerne in Australia, but you've got that. And there's some green lucerne just here. But do you have reliable supply? Is it grown with clean water? Is it available all year round? And how you handle it. You get
better performance with, I think, with dry lucerne, or you certainly need to dry the fresh lucerne for at least 24 hours to allow some of the aromatic compounds to evaporate. That if your horses also waste the fresh lucerne quite a bit, whereas if you can have a source of dry lucerne, lucerne chaff, or as we have lucerne hay, then you're going to get less wastage and better value from the provision of your feed. Those of you who've been to Europe will know they commonly use haylage, haylage is sort of partially dried hay, so it's increased digestibility. I don't think anybody's doing that in India. No one's doing it in Australia either, but there's popular haylages made in New Zealand, but very popular around Asia. And it's a dust-free source, highly digestible feed, and is useful in many circumstances. If you are feeding oats, as I said, Indian oats, they're easier to get, but compared to Australian oats, lower weight, they've got less starch, less energy, and often got a lot more contaminants in them. They've got a lot more things that you don't want there, a lot more hulls, and a pretty high cost. And in general, oats are the best grain to feed horses. The reason is they're the safest, they're the most palatable, and they're the lowest energy. They're lower energy, and but they're more digested. They're well digested in the small intestine compared to barley and corn, which aren't well digested and need heat. And so oats are something that, unless you've got a horse that reacts behaviourally with oats, and some performance horses seem to do that, then I'd say they're your number one horse feed, but getting the right quality stuff at the right cost is important. They don't need cooking. Sometimes they are cooked in India, unlike corn or barley, which do need cooking to improve their digestibility. Now, what about climate stress? What's happening there? You've got heat stress effects on the horse and some heat and humidity effects on the feed. So because of the heat stress, you've got more dry-coated horses. We've done an interesting recent study in Florida looking at some horses that we have temperature sensors in, and we know that these are microchips in muscles, and we think that there are more ulcers in horses that get more stressed, more heat stress. So more glandular ulcers appears to be related to heat stress over a long period, sort of over a summer. The heat stress means you need to feed more energy to a performance horse to hold condition and more energy and protein to maintain growth. So you get slower growth, and if you feed the same amount as you might in a more temperate environment, you're not going to get the performance or the condition that you want. So feeding is more challenging. Now, what does humidity do? Humidity does two things. It really makes a difference in terms of performance horses and their cooling. So they cool much slower, so they're far more likely to get heat stress. It also makes the feed go mouldy. The risk of mouldy feed goes up, and you can then get mycotoxin contamination. And there are some health risks related to that, with colic, some reproductive effects, some damage to livers, etc. So mould is a much bigger issue in India, just as it is, say, in Northern Australia versus in Southern Australia. A few more slides talking about local feed manufacturers. I think it's great if you can have a local feed manufacturer. You can get fresh feed. There are a few dedicated equine feed mills, but there certainly are some more of them now. Unfortunately, transport costs are high. The risk of feed being damaged during transport is also quite high, and during handling. And they tend to be clustered in the north, the reputable ones. What you don't want is a company that makes cattle feed or chicken feed just deciding we're going to make horse feed in our spare time, because often they will get it wrong. Imported feed has led to improved standards with Indian locally manufactured feed, but it has a number of challenges. Exchange rates aren't particularly favourable. The shipping time and delays during customs clearance are the biggest thing. So you're often getting feed that's 3 or 4 months old. You've probably got some mould risks, but the feed that is 3 or 4 months old isn't as good as it is at the time it's made. So I think that's a real challenge, the imported feed. But they have certainly been some useful feeds, and bringing in good quality imported feeds has led to improved standards within India. Yeah. So here's my challenges of feeding horses in India. You've got to think about energy sources, getting the energy right, getting enough energy and protein from the forage, so getting as good a forage as you can. Feed quality issues. Testing feed is very useful, but finding a lab that you can trust is really useful. And in my experience, not all the Indian labs are trustworthy. Coping with the heat, and that's the horse and the feed. Minimising colic. And then if there's one vitamin, mineral and vitamin, if you've got high oxalate pastures, you need to think about calcium. And in most situations, I think vitamin E is probably the most useful supplement that you can have. So I've run out of time. If you want more information, we have a fantastic website called Equinews. And you can sign up for newsletters, fortnightly newsletters, or you can search anything related to feeding and health. I wrote a book about feeding horses last year, which is evidence-based approach to equine nutrition. And most recently, I am summing up, Harshit. Most recently, we've had a nutrition conference in Florida, and they have some great proceedings there of that conference, and that's some world authorities. So thank you very much for your attention today and your time. And I don't know whether there's time for any questions, but if there is, happy to take them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for that interesting presentation. I would now like to introduce Mr. Kapilesh Bhate. Kapilesh Bhate is an accomplished rider with significant experience in competitive circuits. He has also consistently demonstrated excellence, discipline, and a deep understanding of horse training and performance. Notably, he is also an alumnus of MIT World Peace University, where he has built a strong academic foundation alongside his sporting pursuits. Requesting Mr. Kapilesh Bhate to please take the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone over here, especially Gayatri ji and Rahul sir, and all of you members who are working over here tirelessly for having this event. I've been given only 5 minutes, and that's all I will take, because I have now moved on a bit in my life, and so I've been told to talk a bit about my career, a bit about how MIT supported me, and a bit about what I feel about this. So I'm going to keep it very short. I mean, when they told me you have to talk about your career, so I thought, what is a career? Career is something which is a slightly longish kind of a thing, where you spend some time, you get some time, you get some chances to make a few mistakes and then become mature and do. So in my case, I did not have that. I mean, those who know me or followed me, I was like something which was never even like Fuad's dad is there, or my dad is there, or Sir Pratap sir. They actually made me like an object in show jumping, that, you know, EFI, like experiences that I have had, like EFI has supported me so much, because they saw something and then they just pushed me, and I tried my best. That was all I could do. And even MIT, because at that time really there was no show jumper. There was no show jumper. Imtiaz sir was there in eventing. JS sir had already gone into dressage by that time, and somehow EFI believed in me and they made me their poster child, if you can say, and Sir Pratap sir really was the reason. Then SS Alawat sir did the same, and finally after a lot of ups and downs, I managed to reach Asian Games. I mean, and also I was one of the first ones to have, like my dad and us and EFI had a vision that don't get a horse here, you go there, you keep a horse there. So everything grew organically. I had a horse who was doing 110, I was doing 110. We grew slowly, and then in 4 years, that was the only aim. And those who know me and who followed me know that I did not go to Asian Games just to mark my attendance. I was, that games was really unfortunate because uh, the course, the Olaf Peterson and the Saudi team had just won in the World Games, and they were there. Qatar had got all their horses, and there is a clause in the course. I still have the course plan in my house. There's a clause that in championship courses you can go up to 15 centimeters more than the prescribed standard. And that guy put a 154 course in 140. And when I walked the course, my dad was walking with me and I was like, what is this? I don't know what is this. But still we went through our first round. We came through till the end. We had 4 down, but I had no precedent. Like and for that games, the Indian team was not there. The contingent was not there. I was all alone in that Asian Games village, alone. Like there were 8 rooms and I was alone. My dad wasn't allowed to be with me, my coach. So I don't know, very few people will relate what I went through. But and the second round I focused really hard, and in that triple combi, I was clear until the second last jump. I managed to rally myself even though it was high, but we did whatever best we could do. But in that triple combination, 6 people got eliminated and 3 fell down. And unfortunately, I was one of those who got eliminated in that triple combination. But those who follow me or had seen me, I know I gave my best. And my real kind of medals, apart from the 50, 60 international placings in that period of 4 years, are when, for example, Fuad was in Tokyo, and before his round, not after, before his round, I wished him all the best. And he just replied, you should have been here. So I don't know if he just said it like that, I don't think so. But for me, these are the things. Even when he was there in 2014, just after mine, he's like, you should have been here. And even today when I meet all my peers and friends like who have made it a career and who are doing it for 20 years, 25 years, they all say, why did you stop? So for me, these are my medals, and the only reason I could do this is because of VD sir, and Rahul sir was in School of Governance that time. He was fully into that, but he knows me. And VD sir was the reason, because I had to have a backup plan. This was only a sport which was going like spending time and money. So I did engineering. VD sir, that time sir, you know, MIT was not its own university. It was still under Pune University. But I remember VD sir called up the VC. He said, this boy is going to come. You have to conduct special examination for him. He's not going to miss his year. He's first class throughout. So we have to help. So sir, I have given 2 exams, not papers, 2 entire exams in VC's cabin, in Pune University's cabin, and made through. So I cannot just thank MIT enough. And now coming to the last point of what I feel about this, for me, it's just like a complete circle. I told Gayatri ji also that I could not have dreamt in 2010 when I stopped riding that in my college there will be somebody who's demonstrating show jumping. So we have come a long way, and I wish her all the best. And yesterday I liked her one sentence that this is just not just a conversation, it's a commitment. And I see that, and whatever in my capacity it is there, I'll try to help, but otherwise you have everybody. And I think if somebody is trying to do something sincerely, it is on us to support her. That is what I feel. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much. Wait. Kapilish, please. Ladies and gentlemen, a proud alumnus of MIT World Peace University, We have two more in the building, a very important ones. First is Shri Rahul Kararji. I will invite him to please come on the dais for the felicitation of Kapilesh ji. And another one, Mr. Ashim Patil. Please come forward, sir. One alumnus felicitating another one. Thank you very much.
Yes.
We have Bernard with us. He'll be quickly running us through the presentation on farriery that he was displaying outside.
So, to complete my presentation outside, I have to give you some more information. Unfortunately, I have to be quick because we are late in the program, and I will try to escape a few things. So this is what we used to see in the street farrier, and just watching the way that they are working, we can imagine that they don't have much knowledge on the anatomy, on the conformation, on the way that we should work today. So this is a big change. Here,
Would you need this? No. A little closer to that.
Oh, yes, sorry. So I just go through a few pictures because I don't have much time to explain. Maybe just this one to explain that till a few years ago, the only way to learn farriery was in the army. And today, the good thing is the army are sending their teacher farrier to our school to upgrade their knowledge. Thank you, sir. And this is an amazing picture in Fatehpur Sikri. And I spent a lot of time in front of this door watching all these shoes, and it's amazing. Through this picture, I know there were knowledge in India before, and this knowledge disappeared. I don't know why, I don't know when, but this is why we have created our school in Dundlod, and we are very proud to teach farriery like we learn farriery in Europe, in United States, working mostly for performance horses. I have to go, sorry, I have to just rush a little bit in the picture. This is also our place to work, the practical work in the stable. We have fantastic teacher with very good experience. We have to teach our teacher to become good enough to transmit their knowledge. As you know, there are many people in different professions who are fantastic, but they are very bad teachers. So teaching anatomy again, it's the base for our profession, and we really have to learn in details all the structure that you can see inside the foot. Can you imagine? These are little papilla inside the coronary band to produce the wall of the foot. These papilla are very fragile. Any accident, any lesion on the coronet can produce a big change in the hoof capsule. Here we have the lamella. Oops, sorry. This is this. Yes. These are the lamella inside the hoof capsule. Oh yes. The lamella inside the hoof capsule. These are the lamella surrounding the pedal bone, and this make the connection between the pedal bone and the hoof capsule. These are the papilla of the soul, the papilla who are producing the soul. So you can imagine all these structures are very fragile, and these are the different layers. Here we have the pedal bone, the sensitive lamina, the unsensitive lamina, the hoof capsule. These maintain the pedal bone inside the hoof capsule, not in a rigid way. It's part of the shock absorber to prevent too much shock inside the hoof capsule. Here we can see there are many different shock absorbers inside the hoof, on the limb, and this is how it works. Here we have the digital cushion, which is a very, very important part of the hoof. The sole, the concavity of the sole is also a shock absorber. It works like a spring, and we can see the pedal bone, it's not rigid inside the hoof capsule. It can slightly move during the movement, during the shock. I am trying to go fast. I will escape all these things but you see bone, joint, ligament. You can see this foot is traveling with me around the world. He has been in so many countries, and this is also how to explain to our trainees all the details, how work also this different part inside the limb. So I go a little bit too fast, but here we can see all the different ligaments we have inside the limb to attach and to maintain the joints. These ligaments are very important, and you will see in a next picture. Here we have the tendon, and you can imagine how important are the tendon and the ligament. Just a little quick parenthesis to the fall. This is not a vegetable garden. This is a fall at birth. And here you can see a beautiful video made by Chris Pollitt and edited by Simon Curtis, where we can see the development of a young horse foot during 1 year. And you can see the conus of the foot is, here we can see this is still the baby foot. Here we have already the new growth, and the coronet is expanding. The base of the foot is still quite small, and step by step, the foot is changing. Now we can see the wall are straight, then the wall is becoming more open at the base, and this is how it changed. Working in a stud farm, following the babies, it's a fantastic school for any farriers, because we really feel the change on the feet, and we get the knowledge about how to take care to this very fragile structure of the feet. So now we can go on different things, and you can see how much we can change the balance of the feet. Long toe, low heel, it's the worst conformation for the horse, and it creates a lot of stress on the tendon and also on the ligament. And here you can see only, sorry. Yes, sorry. Only by trimming we can change. Look, these are the first angle of the foot before trimming. This is the angle of the foot after trimming. This is exactly the same foot before and after trimming. So see the change and imagine what it represents for the horse. It's like if you had to work with a shoe yourself, maybe 3 sizes bigger than your normal size. So only by trimming we can really change a lot and have this kind of change. This is what I was saying and what we are looking at when we are checking the horse from the side. We are checking at the alignment of the phalanges. Here, with the long toe, we have a broken back alignment of yes. Sorry. This is the alignment that we are looking at, the line of the phalanges, which is exactly the 3 phalanges inside the hoof. Okay. We are working for the movement. We are not working for the static of the horse. So, up, here, yes, okay. Okay. Sorry. So, this is what we are looking at. The line of the coronet should be parallel to the ground. And on the foot, if the line is not parallel, then you can see here we have the pedal bone will be also unbalanced. And we create pressure on the joints on one side, and on the other side, we give stress to the ligament. So these are very, very important correction. And when we have problem with the ligament, we also have possibility with special shoes to distress the ligament. Or opposite, if we have a problem on the joint, we can also deload a little bit the joint to help the horse to be more comfortable. Working on warm blood, can you make the video work? Hello, can you make the video work, please? Yes. You can see this different video show you the movement of the foot, and you see here we have the digital cushion, and the digital cushion is like a balloon. If you push on the balloon, it will expand on the side. Here it's exactly. Can you make the video work, please? There are 4 videos, and they have to work together. No, it was working before, and now they don't understand. Yes, okay, let's go. So you can see the movement also create deformity of the hoof capsule. And this deformity, what about this one, please? Yes, make it work. Now, we are loading this foot, and the load will make the heel expand. This is why we should never put heel behind the widest part of the foot. Here we have the widest part of the foot. We should never put nails in this part because you block the natural mechanism of the foot. Okay, Chalo. We have. Yes, sorry. So look at some movement. It can be polo horses, race horses, short jumper. The movement on the fetlock can be frightening, but it's normal. It's absolutely normal. But in the short jumper, for example, the landing phase has been measured. How much load is in the tendon during the loading phase? 1,000 kilo in the deep flexor tendon. Can you imagine? This is something fantastic to learn. And I'm sorry. I have to come back, and next time I will give you a complete show. Okay. Very sorry.
Thank you,
There
Bernard.
are some more fantastic things.
We will surely be listening to, we'll connecting more and we will having more chances. Thank you very much.
I have to come back.
I would like to call upon Mr. Navneet Raj to please felicitate Mr. Bernard Duvernay. As we continue, we shift our focus to an equally important yet often overlooked aspect of equestrian excellence, rider fitness. A rider's strength, balance, endurance, and mental conditioning play a vital role in overall performance and harmony with the horse. It is a privilege to welcome Imtiaz Anis as our distinguished speaker. An accomplished equestrian, Olympian, and trainer, he leads the Seahorse Equestrian Training Academy. May I now invite Mr. Anis to share his insights on optimizing rider fitness and performance.
Yeah, this we need to wrap up in 5 minutes. I'm really sorry. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you again for having me. Thank you for
Check. Now.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on this stage. I really appreciate it. I think this is something that is really important, is rider fitness. I think people don't understand that we're riding a 500 kilo horse and it doesn't matter what discipline you are. If you're not fit, you cannot really ride horses. People think that they ride horses so that keeps their fitness. Overseas, you've got to be riding at least 6 to 7 horses a day for you to be good for one in competition. So that's the basic parameter, which I don't think any person out here, because of time, money, or infrastructure, can do that. So you have to support your equestrian fitness with doing other things. At Seahorse now, with all our students, I make it compulsory for them to play another sport. So it's really, really important that they play a sport. The importance of another sport is not only the fitness, but also for the reflexes. For me, like a game of squash, it's a far more way. I rather a rider ride less, but play 3 days squash and come to me on the weekend. I can fix the riding, but I cannot fix his reflexes. I cannot fix his cardio. I cannot fix his response time. So it's really important that we stress this in all disciplines. You see it all the way. Overweight or unfit should not be sitting on a horse. It's not fair on the horse as well. I have a weight limit also on my riding. I said, if you're not up to this level, there's 2 different weights also. If you're if you already know how to ride, you can be at a certain weight because then you're in balance. But if you don't know how to ride, then the weight is even less because you're not in balance. That means that weight is going to be even more unevenly distributed. So that is one thing that's really important. We've started another program now with all our students. We have team leaders as well. And the whole idea is every 2 weeks, I set a fitness program for them. And they actually have to send a video in to their team leaders that they've done it. It is really as simple as something like Surya Namaskar. I mean, all my students, you have to be doing at least 30 Surya Namaskars as a warm-up before you ride. It stretches the whole body. It's what India is. We can easily do it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. The most other important thing is core, plank. Plank is such a simple exercise. You can never say you don't have enough time because you don't need that much time. We're looking at kids doing right now 3 45-second planks. Then they move to 1 minute. Then they move to 3. My top riders are all doing 6-minute planks. Minimum requirement, or you're not on the team. It's very simple, very structured. And if you build that program, then it comes in there. The next thing that we have to add to it is nutrition. They have to understand that we are athletes. And unless you stay fit, we have this concept, everything is for the horse. Warm up the horse, warm up the nutrition for the horse, but nobody looks at themselves as riders. We first have to look at ourselves, what we're doing to these horses. So unless we have a proper fitness regime for these kids, and it's very easy at all levels, at all riding schools, to start putting that. Run, swim, bike, they can choose their discipline, but if they're not fit enough, your reflexes are never going to be good enough, you're not fast enough, and you're not going to be good enough. in the sport. So I know I've got a very short, but my bell hasn't rung yet. So if there are any questions, please raise your hand. I'm happy to keep talking about it, but I'm really strong about this, that you have to add good nutrition as well. The other issue that happens is a lot of the children that are riding today, their parents have never played sport. So I get answers like, oh, you know, my child gets up every day at 8 o'clock. That's like 2 hours already gone of my day. You know what I mean? So they don't have the concept, you know, like a lot of the people says, you know, my child already is doing so much. They don't have time. If you remove social media, they have all the time. So it's about making time for your sport, which is really, really important. So I really hope that a forum like this really pushes how important our fitness is, because less injuries will take place. And also, they do not get enough time to ride. So a 30-minute riding lesson is not sport. It's like the old days where we went down to the playground and said kicked the ball and we said, oh, we played sport. That's not sport. You have to be in a program where there's a proper warm-up, there's a proper sport, and let them choose the sport. It doesn't matter what sport they are, but their reflex action is what's important with our equestrian speed. Like squash, badminton, tennis, when that ball comes back, you have to hit it. So if you're not standing in the right place, you're not moving, you can't hit the ball. So it doesn't matter what level they are. It is really important that we emphasize on how important fitness is in all our disciplines. Then we can come to things like nutrition, fitness, as well as mental health and things like that. It goes into much level in order to make an athlete. Today, an Olympic athlete it's the winner. Everybody works hard, everybody's disciplined, and everybody has strength training coaches and all that. But it's the mind that makes the difference between winning and losing. To get into that show jumping arena and still be calm when you know you have one rail in hand and keeping your calm and riding your stride. So that can only come with preparation from before, not luck. Oh, I had a rail. Bad luck. No, there's no bad luck in sport. Okay, you make your luck. Thank you. I know it's a bit quick, but if there are any questions or anything, please, I'm really big about this and I think it's really, really important. I'm happy to help people. This is a program that we run at our place, which is free of cost. So it's nothing that you have to charge as long as you're in the program. We made it like a bit of an IPL, so you can do that. We've got teams. They had a bidding. They had an auction, all the riders were bought, all the students were bought, so the team leaders could buy. We had a live auction going. So it was really wonderful that it just got that whole spirit going. And the way these kids are working out, and then they start competing against each other, you know? So it's not about riding, because not everybody has that access to ride every day or have horses every day, but they can still keep themselves extremely fit so that when they do get the opportunity, or when they do ride on that weekend, they are actually fit enough and less injuries. So you got to look at it that way. How many overweight people? It's all because of less injuries. So if you're fitter, you'll be safer. Thank you very much. Sorry for this quick thing.
This has been wonderful. We are really fortunate to have him as an expert over here on rider fitness. One specific question from the audience, we can definitely take. This has been a discussion forum. Yes, Pooja ji, please. The volunteer will come to you. We can take only one question, but let this be a wonderful discussion and a forum. Harshit, mic shuru nahi hai beta.
But also, while this mic is saying, I'm here for the morning. If any questions, if we can put programs for other places, happy to help, because ours has really been quite successful now. We have 70 kids in our fitness program. Yeah. So that's a really large number of kids.
The question, please.
So it's just an add-on to what Imtiaz has been doing, and he's doing a wonderful job, and I'm glad that aspect has come forward. I used to ride myself, and we never thought about the rider fitness as in fitness altogether. We are talking about the other athlete, which is horse. So thank you so much for bringing that point forward. And we also need to understand that apart from the physical fitness, as you mentioned, the mental well-being and the mindset also needs to come into picture. We are seeing it all abroad. They are following it up. But that is not happening in India. We're giving everything to cricketers. We are giving everything to, even the film stars are having their mindset coaches, but we do not have it. And children categorically, or any polo, dressage, anywhere that you go, that mindset, because a lot happens before the field, on the field, after the field. So thank you so much, Imtiaz.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Dr. Imtiaz Anis. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
From gametes to games, breeding systems and performance, this topic takes us through the journey of how science, genetics and careful planning contribute to developing high-performance horses. To present this session, we are pleased to invite Dr. Ramanathan to the stage. Dr. B. Ramanathan is an experienced equine veterinarian and farrier with a career dedicated to horse care since 1986. He specializes in hoof care, breeding, reproduction, and overall equine health, combining veterinary expertise with advanced farriery skills.
Good morning. Welcome to this place, and I'm honored to be here. So actually, it's a great journey for me to be part of equine reproduction, because it is two small cells come together to create an animal that beats the hoof on the floor, and our history was written on his back. The entire human history is written on his back, and it started with just two individual cells. So to breed a specific nice horse, you need to understand reproduction, which is basically nothing but functional anatomy and physiology, how the horses breed. So it's everything down to the basics, because Michael Faraday, when he started working, because he was a very poor blacksmith's son, he had to have some kind of a help from the queen to do some research to bring about electricity. So she visited him once and said, "Why are you doing all this?" That time she was pregnant. So he asked her, of what use is a baby? Today, the whole world is moving with electricity. It's the same. It's the basics. So it's the gametes. Please stay close to this. Stay close? Okay. So it's the gametes of horses. If you see on the top is the oocyte, and the down where the dead cells are the sperms, and the next one is a collected embryo. We all think the horse reproduction starts with the testes and the penis and the uterus. It actually starts in the brain, and it is functioned in the brain, and it is orchestrated in the brain. It is from the brain that the whole reproduction system starts, and it is also controlled in the brain. The environmental input, their physical well-being, and the play of hormones that result in the presence of a spermatozoa in the testis and the ovulation and the ovary. The same thing happens to the ovary as well. So there are certain oddities in equine reproduction. It's a 21-day cycle in a typical quote-unquote estrus cycle, but it is never follows that. And the estrus period is 5 to 7 days, and the ovulation is at the end of the estrus. It again does not follow the rules. None of the mares read any book. So the challenges are very many, and we have to understand the challenge to produce the right foal. So there are stallion oddities which are very unique, because if you can find a whole number of poor sperms yet achieve a pregnancy, we can have almost 10% of the sperms living in the collection, but we can still help the stallion achieve a pregnancy. This comes very, very useful when you're dealing with old stallions belonging to rare bloodlines, and stallions which are having other health issues. So the fertilization basically occurs in the oviduct, and unfertilized eggs, especially in perissodactyls, stay back. That means rhinoceros, tapirs, horses, zebras. So the foaling, it results in a pregnancy and a foaling. I'm going to be fast because I have a very limited time. So the foaling can be divided into three. There are 3-day seminars on foalings. Anywhere in the world, we are going to connect this in about a few minutes. It's a stage 1 is the baby kind of positions itself in the right direction. In horses, it takes a few hours to sometimes weeks. That's the reason why you get false calls saying that the mare is about to deliver, and the rest of the signs of pregnancy and the end of pregnancies are kind of coming together. And the stage 2 is an explosive event when the foal actually comes out. Anywhere between 9 and 11 minutes you have to attend to that. And the third stage is the placental expulsion, which if it exceeds 4 hours, it is called the retention of placenta. And this mare can likely to have laminitis induced because of retention of placenta. The foaling is a cascade of hormones from the brain of the mare to the brain of the foal. And it's the two brains that come together to decide that the birth has to happen that particular moment. Because the day and night So 99.9% of the foals are born normal or eutokia gestation. Whereas in case there is a difficulty in the birth, in horses we have about very small window of opportunity to help, which is basically 9 to 19 minutes to intervene to deliver the baby live. Failing which, we have to deliver the baby in any case parvaginally if possible. If possible. And C-section is another option which requires a lot more setup, and it's a big team effort of 2 surgeons, anesthetists and rotating ambulatory nurses. It's always an emergency. It's a crowded situation. You can see the same chestnut mare giving a normal baby with no supervision whatsoever in the paddock, whereas a mare that is foaling, which is stuck, we are about to do the vaginal technique to relieve it. Next to the topic would be the assessment of the baby once it is born. About 20% of the babies die in horses because of varieties of reasons, which we will see some of them. A baby horse or a foal is not a small version of the horse. It has its own metabolism, it's got its own metabolic rates, it's got different ways that it deals with fluid that we give and the medicines we administer. So this is a sick foal with undergoing a comatose situation post C-section with all the support system. So we should look and turn around. In the last 2 decades, we have got a tremendous amount of knowledge that has gone into how we look at a sick foal. It is way beyond IV fluids and IV antibiotics. The physiology is far, far better understood. And the recent studies in the ICUs of big hospitals have found out that the number of animals that has gone through the ICU protocol stayed more than 6 weeks. Their earnings per start is same as that of the regular normal foals of the same year. So it is basically a worthwhile measure to undergo an expensive ICU protocol for a foal, because you have waited already 11 months. We have made all the plans and they will be just going away. So in the blood profile, the phosphorus, the high glucose level and high SAP up to even 3000 IU, and the GGT is very elevated. And there is another thing called the overshot phenomenon of the hepatic enzymes. Unlike in cows and human neonates, due to cholesterol ingestion, equine cholesterol is something which is extremely unique. So the total body water in foals is almost 67% versus 44% in case of adults. And that's the reason why when the foal is dehydrated, without doing any test, it looks shriveled. The eyes will get sunken. And you don't need to do very many great number of tests to do some immediate IV lines and run some fluids. So the equine neonates versus the adult, the difference is in the extracellular fluid, total body water, drug distribution, metabolic rates, thermoregulatory mechanism is completely absent in the folks in the first 48 hours, even a normal delivery. Again, we are back to basics. Prematurity is less than 320 days.
Myself busy. As things were easing down, I found a position at Tween Hills while studying. So there's Thoroughbred Stud Farm, which is right next to the college or the university. And this involved observing mares overnight for foaling signs and also assisting with postpartum care. So it was a wonderful learning experience as well. However, I would recommend not doing night shifts and going to your lectures the next morning. That was tough. But I think what really inspired me again was this moment where the mare sees her foal for the very first time. You can't replace it. And if you ever have a chance to watch a foaling, I would highly recommend that. And again, to keep things busy, you can see there's a cycle now. So the foaling season would last January to May. And as we would break off for summer holidays at university, I started working at Saline Services for 3 consecutive seasons as well, which is UK's largest AI stud, which is a wonderful experience. It's just a short video summarizing that. Oh, how is it? Can you play it from the start, please? I think the videos tend to start from the beginning. You want to play the video? Yeah, so it's supposed to tell. Oh, okay. This just gives an overview of the whole process from collection to foals. So during my time there again, so I was quite grateful for Talis Madsen over there. He always encouraged research and development. So I did a couple of dissertations with them, of which I had the chance to present one of them at the fertility conference in Belfast. So I was quite lucky with that. And then I graduated, but what next? And then there was a position that popped up at University of Surrey for a clinical research assistant. So this is for an HBLB funded research project that was looking at applying artificial intelligence-based tools to detect and potentially predict paroxysmal atrial fibrillation or atrial fibrillation. So as we can see, this is what an ECG looks like, or an electrocardiogram. And the sawtooth-shaped patterns that you see in the beginning is the fluttering of the top part of the heart, which is the atrium, and then it's converted back to normal. So the horse has self-corrected Now the issue with this is that it's incidental, so it's really difficult to detect. So unless you're taking an ECG 24/7 or auscultating at the right time, you don't know. So they've developed an algorithm which basically breaks it down into little pieces through complexity and restitution. And all we need is a resting ECG of up to 60 seconds. And it tells you whether the horse has had an episode or is going to have an episode. So for this work, I was based in Newmarket at Rossdale's Equine Hospital. So that's just some of the work. So I had to travel around collecting ECG data from all these different horses. I'll just skip through quickly. Now, alongside that, there was, of course, wearable technologies that we came across, that the trainers were using, of which one of them is this. It gives you all the things, but they also give, and then there was another piece of equipment. Alongside this extra stride parameters and all this data, they also give ECG, which led to having conversations with the trainers to introduce them at the races. And I think this was the most important part, is that without conversations between trainers, regulators, and researchers, we can't really make any impactful change. And I think this is a brilliant example of how we got through to getting to that stage. And soon we did a pilot study, so we introduced these devices on the race course. This is just a quick video of the... This, again, to keep myself busy, because I was embedded at Rossdale's, I thought I'd make the most of it. So I started foal sitting as well at the Peter Rossdale foal unit, at the neonatal intensive care unit, which is again a wonderful, wonderful experience because I missed my foals. Then moving on, some of the research outputs. So I also had the chance to present some of this work to the group. Yeah, I think I just want to end with something. So, if there's one thing that I've learned through my journey, it's that progression rarely happens in isolation. It requires asking questions, seeking opportunities, and also being willing to step into areas you don't fully understand. And because often the worst thing that could happen is you'll get a no or the outcome won't work out. But it's the opportunities you say yes to and what you do with them take you into the right direction. And again, it's not defined by where we start, but how we all bring experience and research together for the welfare of the horses. And I think this is definitely the right step, the right step in the right direction. And it's about time we did that. Right, let's speak. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I would like to call upon Mr. Dhruvpal Singh for the felicitation, and for that I would like to also call Ms. Jangjit Singh, equine expert by Vantara. Thank you, sir. I would also like to call Ms. Maud Chatel, and to felicitate her, I would like to call Mr. Sameer Chotai from Krishna Valley Animal Feed Company. just wait for 5 minutes. Till then, we now move into confirmation science and evaluation, understanding how a horse's structure, biomechanics, and physical attributes directly influence its performance. To guide us through this session, please welcome Ms. Zara Pavle. She is an accomplished equestrian coach, an international judge, recognized as a British dressage and FEI eventing judge. She is dedicated to rider development and equestrian education, bringing extensive experience in both competition and officiating.
Good afternoon. It's after 12 o'clock, and in England, where I come from, after 12 o'clock is afternoon, so good afternoon. Is that right? Oh. And also, I don't want the bell to ring, so this is going to be very short, very sweet, and I'm away. I'm very aware of the time factor. My route into this was that as a youngster, I came from a family and we bought and sold show jumpers. And I was very aware of the conformation problems of horses and how good conformation will keep a horse sound. Then with my other hat on, I became interested in the breeding of competition horses. And it's quite interesting because over the period of time since I've been judging and eventing internationally, we've done a complete turnaround in how we look at the conformation of the horse. I was out in Poland last year, and I noticed that they've gone back to the more traditional type of horse because of soundness. So that's where I come from. Conformation really does reference to the make and shape of a horse. And then the related proportions of this will allow the horse to stay sound. Body shape will differ quite a bit according to the breeds. So each breed tends to have its own specification. We talked about the indigenous breeds of horses. They're very different to what I would have as a thoroughbred or a competition horse. But the basic structure of the horse does not change. You might have breed specifics, like the Arabian horses have very particular front dish faces. And you must be very careful that these specifics, the same as what has happened with dog breeding, do not become extreme. You must be able to keep in proportion. The soundness, we need horses to stay sound, and certain things we've already touched on, which are the shoeing of the horse, the importance of the foot, the importance of the fact that the horse's weight goes onto feet. So all this becomes important. The function of the horse. Different functions that we have on the horse will affect how it goes. So an endurance horse will be very different to what I'd be looking for as a dressage horse or an event horse. With a bit of luck, I might be able to touch on that a bit later on. You need to understand the importance of how each part of the horse fits, the problems it has, which again was very well done with the physiotherapy part. Maybe next time we should join forces and talk about this. If I'm asked back again, you're more than likely to ask back again, possibly I won't. You need to be able to assess the function of the horse and how the horse moves. So the first slide I've got is where do we start? This is so important. We start with the proportions of the horse, how the horse is put together. So I'm going to try and move this. We've got a problem. If I can go back.
It is my sincere request to all the students sitting behind to please maintain silence. It is very disrespectful to the speaker who has taken time to speak with us today. Thank you.
So if we look at the proportions of the horse, this is what would be an ideal horse. And if you look at it, in England, we have a saying that the horse must be square. And if you have a look at this horse, you can see the various proportions. It looks in balance. If you look at a horse and your eye is immediately drawn to an area of the horse, 9 times out of 10, it'll be either very good or very bad. And it's up to you with your knowledge and your ability to be able to say whether it's good or bad. So this horse is a diagram. I wish I could have used photographs, but I had very short notice on being able to do this. And if you look, you can see that it's made up of various squares. Next one. And again, if you look, you've got these lines, and you can see what I mean about the horse being square. And this is, again, important. And in Europe, they had horses that were becoming very long and very elongated and didn't fulfill a square. Okay. So within this, we've got the proportions of the horse, which again are important. So if you look at the horse, you will see how, oh, this is not the right one. This is something totally different. Okay, so we look at the proportions of the horse. It must be balanced, not long in the back, not very long in the leg, not long in the neck. It needs to be in balance. So we go on to again. So an important part is the symmetry of the horse. You need to look at it and be able to judge. So if you have a look at this horse, it's in balance. It looks right. So symmetry is important. Ideally, the horse's body should look the same on both sides. So we go back to the physiotherapy work that we were talking about earlier. If it's not symmetry, it can be a problem. Problem with fitting the tack, possibly the horse is uneven on one side, possibly you have another problem. So when you look at a horse, look at it from both the front and from the back. Be careful with an unknown horse. You need to be able to put your hands on the pelvis and notice whether or not it's level, whether or not it's uneven. It should be level. Again, if it's not level, you will ask someone like the physiotherapist, or you'll ask your farrier to have a look. Because if it's not, it's going to put more wear and tear on a particular part of the horse's body, which again will cause wear and tear. Conformation is very much involved in the soundness of the horse. Certain things that have already been discussed will lead the horse to become more unsound. Bad feet. If the foot is not right, if the foot are not equal, you'll end up with a lameness problem, which means it's detrimental to the horses. Someone earlier talked about the fact that we have a problem with the training of horses. And this is often, sadly, more found in European horses, because the horses in Europe are classified as agricultural animals. And if you're not careful, you have a problem with that. So again, we come back up to the symmetry of the horse. And as you can see where the problems are, often, as was described this morning, you end up with shoulder problems through badly fitting tack or wear and tear on the horse. Next one.
Sarah, let me just make an announcement. I will just request students and the audience in the back to please keep calm. The noise is disturbing in the front. Thank you very much.
So again, if we have a look, you can see the lines that are required on the horse. So the horse on the right at the top, you can see is what is called croupi, and naturally it will go more on its forehand because that's the way it's built. I judged a 3-star in England, and the horse that won was built very much this way. It was built naturally on its forehand. It did reflect in the dressage test because it didn't get a good mark, but it had the heart and soul, and it did a double clear round. And again, it won the competition. It was a Brazilian thoroughbred. But so, accept that sometimes conformation will give the horse the opportunity to have the heart and soul. Some of the worst conformation I've ever seen, the horses will jump to the moon. They shouldn't do, but they've got that something. You may have the horse with the most beautiful conformation, but if it hasn't got the soul, it will not be able to do the job. So again, if you have a look at these pictures, you'll see the differences in it. Can you all see? Oh my God, I've gone to the bell. I've lost my bet with myself. Can I just, I was going to talk about angles, but I'm not going to have time. Angle of the shoulder is important from all horses and is often misdone. And if you have a look, the angle is actually the shoulder blade, nothing else. This to me is important because if you have a horse that's naturally thick through the gullet, you'll find it very hard to go onto the bridle. And those of you involved in show jump, in dressage, it is important that the horse appears to go on the bridle. Sometimes it's physically impossible for the horse to be able to do that, which you can see here. So that's all. I was going to go into more detail, but I have very short of time. So again, any questions, come and find me afterwards and I'll try and answer them. I can't guarantee I've got the answers. I may say to you, go and look and find out, which basically means I don't know. And I accept that. Thank you very much. And can I thank you all for asking me to come back to India?
Thank you, ma'am. I now like to call upon Ms. Maud Chatel to be felicitated by Mr. Sameer Chotai from the Krishna Valley Animal Feed Company. Up next, we have an address on a topic that plays a vital role in the global equine ecosystem, import and export of horses. Now, I'd like to take a moment to warmly invite Mr. Gaurav Rampal, a distinguished equestrian known for his dedication and excellence in the sport. With years of hands-on experience in horse training and competitive riding, he has played a vital role in developing skilled riders and well-trained horses. His approach blends discipline, technique, and a deep understanding of equine behavior. Through his work, he continues to promote professionalism and passion within the equestrian community.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I'm not in India right now. I know we are running short on time, so I'll deep dive into the subject that's been given to me. It's the import and export of horses to and from India. I'll start with the export first. Yesterday in the first session where the panelists were there and the ministers were there, a little bit of this subject was touched upon. Technicalities of it was touched and theory. So I'm not going to touch any of that. I'll dive into the practicalities of it, what I see as certain challenges and what could be the way forward, a suggestion from me. So from the export point of view, there is not much action that's been happening with Indian thoroughbred. I work primarily in the thoroughbred space. There's not much action because there's not much demand. So the way forward is for us to look inwards so that we can improve the quality of a produce so that there is demand for the Indian horses, Indian thoroughbreds. Last couple of years, there have been a few exports. Most of them have been race horses, some champion horses who went to compete abroad. Most of them came back, some of them stayed there. And some of the exports happened accidentally. And when I say accidentally, that's happened because some of the mares were imported into India and their progeny turned out to be champions abroad, and these became commercially very important. So those were the mares which were sent back from India. So it's pretty much been accidental. There's not much action on the import side of it. Protocol is a big problem / concern for us because that is something which needs to be reviewed often at regular intervals. A lot of communication needs to happen internationally, bilaterally between the government departments. One case in point in recent years, because of the lapse of protocol, there's a very nice race mare, Juliet, who could not travel to compete in Dubai. So there was no shortage of resources. However, the mare was not able to travel because the protocol and the bureaucratic things were not in place. So yes, on the export front, there is not much action. Nitty-gritties, there are a lot of detailing that needs to be done. America has been best to send horses. Even when we've sent horses to Europe, it has been via America, but they have to spend a lot of time, almost 60 days in US before they could move ahead to Europe. Tiny details which adds up a lot to the cost are like positioning of the air stable. Your pallets need to be moved to India. You have to hunt for the best location. Could be Korea, could be Hong Kong, could be some pallets going back from Australia, empty pallets. You need to position those. You need to specially get the flying grooms down to be able to fly with your horses. So all in all, it's an expensive affair, and there was a bit of discussion on EDFCs as well. They need to really be put in place for us to experiment with exports. It's a costly affair, but as we speak, I think it's a pipe dream for India because glanders is not going to be taken lightly in the international space, and that has been an area of concern for us recently. So I think that is something which is pipe dream. I'll speak about a little bit about imports now. There has been a lot of action on the import front in India. Post-COVID, with the thoroughbreds, there have been about 50 to 100 coming into India every year, and pre-COVID, they were numbered had almost gone to about 250. So a lot of action. We import horses from US, England, Ireland, France. We've done it from Japan, we've done it from Australia, we've done it from New Zealand. Again, protocol is the main concern. It's meant to be bilateral, and it happened last year with us. Indian government issued a fresh protocol without having any communication with the exporting countries. So that came as a big shock to us. It was pretty close to the importing season. NHBSI had to get into action. A lot of personal relations were used abroad. UK was cooperative. DEFRA came into play. A lot of people on the ground did work to get that sorted in time. However, the American government did not agree to it. They wanted a direct communication with the Indian government, and we could not sort that out. So there was a loss of trade. Some horses that were purchased in America could not be shipped. They were stuck there. So having an access to the government bodies with better communication is very, very important for us. Health protocol addresses the quarantine and the testing issues, and a lot of horses suffer when they arrive into India because most of our quarantines, which is Delhi and Bombay, Bangalore is the new one, but the Delhi and the Bombay one are fairly old now, and they are really surrounded by civilization and not the best of conditions. So a lot of horses get into a shock because abroad the quarantines are very nice. They are done at the farms. They've got grazing. They've got a lot of time, turnout time out. Whereas the moment you come to India, they are huddled in small spaces, and it is a shock to their system, and it's a shock to their system to adjust to the Indian weather conditions as well. So that is something, if that can be looked at. A suggestion here is if we can lobby for private quarantine at various stud farms. It's a practice which is done abroad. Certain sections in the farms are identified as quarantine areas. The government comes, they earmark it, they have separate access, separate staff for the quarantine period, and they're open to audit all the time. So that is one practice which we should lobby for in India, to cut the quarantine time post-arrival. It's been cut down to a week now. We have to spend 30 days in exporting country and 3 weeks in India now, provided we get all the test results on time. Duties on breeding stock, the pure breed breeding stock has come down to 0. It used to be 30%, which was very, very high, so that's a good move. IGST and GST components still exist. Infrastructure at airport is lacking. We do not have a holding area at the airport. There are no stables. There are no proper washdown areas if the horses need. So infrastructure, because many a times if the horses come at a busy time, literally there are forklifts all over and the horses are being unloaded. There's a lot of crowd that gathers. Some of them come very close trying to take selfie with horses. There's a lot of screaming and shouting that goes on. So the infrastructure at airport does not exist for us right now. Customs, once the documentation is right, they've been pretty straightforward. That's not a concern. I know I'm short on time and I'm running out of time. I'll just end it with few anecdotes. It's a very complicated process and you're always on your toes as and when the shipments are on. Once it happened with us, a stallion was loaded onto the aircraft on the exporting country. The ground staff went on strike and the aircraft did not have enough fuel as well. They would not let the horse unload. They would not let people unload. And the only option was the aircraft to fly out. And it didn't have enough fuel. So the aircraft actually went to a different country just to refuel and then come to India. And till the time they land, we have no idea literally what the conditions are and how we are going to manage. Once while shipping in from Australia, the transit was supposed to be from Hong Kong. And I don't know what the rules are now. Dr. Anat Sidhu will be in a position to highlight that. But at that point in time, you could not transit in Hong Kong for more than 9 hours. So if you were spending time more than 9 hours, you had to spend a month there. And our transit time was turning out to be about 12 hours. So we actually had to delay the takeoff flight from Sydney so that we get the connecting time in less than 9 hours. That does cost a bomb, but we had to do that in the interest of the horse to get him into the breeding season on time. Thirdly, we recently shipped horses literally in the middle of the war. The quarantine was completed. They were supposed to fly and the war broke out. And we had no idea what was going to happen initial stages. All the airlines canceled bookings. They were supposed to fly through the Gulf, but that didn't happen. And with the other airlines, there was so much backlog and cancellation, they only wanted to move essential goods first. And horses did not feature in that essential list at all. But somehow we managed to move them through Lufthansa and they arrived into India. So, well, on and all, it's a very complicated space. It's adventurous space, and I think a forum like this can address a lot of issues that we face in the interest of the health of the horses while importing. Thank you very much. That's my time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Jutta Put, a global equine strategy advisor at JP Brand Plus. She works with founders, CEOs, and investors worldwide, helping them with strategic positioning and international expansion. Her session will explore how structured approaches, innovation, and global perspective can help transform the equine industry into a more sustainable and growth-oriented ecosystem. We'll be having a short video presentation.
To everyone in Pune, with you in person today. It is a privilege to be part of a gathering like that, where people are thinking about the future of the equine industry in India. Thank you, Gayatri, for creating this space and bringing people together around a shared vision. My name is Jutta Putz. I'm joining you today from Lexington, Kentucky. I was originally born in Austria. So I come to this conversation from a different place, but with the same respect for one thing that connects us all, the horse. Different countries, different systems, but the same animal. And that matters, because the horse is global, even when the business around it is not. Across Europe, the US, and the Middle East, I see similar pattern. There is no shortage of talent, there is no shortage of passion, and there is certainly no shortage of horsemanship. What is often missing is the business structure around the talent. Because performance alone does not build an industry. Structure, clarity, and coordination build industries. Without that, strong local businesses remain fragmented, even when the quality is excellent. India already has a real place in the global equine economy. There is tremendous manufacturing strength. Saddlery exports are a real part of that story. There is also broader potential in breeding, riding facilities, veterinary services, and technology. So the question is not whether India has capability. It clearly does. The real question is, where does India want to sit in the value chain? Will it remain primarily a supplier, or will it build brands, own relationships, and shape how the market sees its value? I see three broad paths. First, the supplier model. This is where businesses produce well, often at scale, but with limited control over pricing, positioning, or customer loyalty. It can be stable, but margins are usually tighter, and the business is more exposed to outside demand. Second, the brand-led model. This is where a company starts to own its name, its customer relationship, and its market position. This is not just a marketing exercise. It is a structural shift in how the business operates. Third, the integrated authority model. This is where business does more than sell products. It helps shape standards, trust, education, and perception. This is where businesses and industries mature. So what is missing is not talent. It is alignment, direction, and the confidence to move from activity to industry. That is why gatherings like this matter so much. And that is why I want to recognize what the Equine Collective has started here. It is more than an event. It is the beginning of something bigger, a place where conversation can turn into coordination and coordination into growth. That is rare and is extremely valuable. Every business in this room has a choice. Stay mainly a supplier or move toward ownership of product, brand, and market position. Both paths are valid, but they lead to very different futures. The future of the equine industry in India will not be defined by capacity alone. It will be defined by structure, clarity, and leadership. And the businesses that understand that will be helping shaping the industry on a global stage. Thank you. I'm honored to be part of this conversation.
Thank you very much, Yuta, for that address. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. She has joined us all the way from USA. Now we will be moving forward to the valedictory function. The baton that we started yesterday, the journey has been pleasant and insightful. I would like to invite the dignitaries on the dais. First and foremost, Shri Rahul Kararji, Executive President, MIT World Peace University and founder of MIT School of Government, BCS and NLC. Along with him, I'll request Dr. Farooq Wadia to please come on the dais and join us for the valedictory function. Dr. Hasnain Mirza, Senior Vet and at Poonawalla Stud Farm, Dr. Hasnain Wadia. Ms. Gayatri Karar, founder and convener of the Equine Collective, along with Dr. Ravi Reddy, Senior Vet and President Naloli Stud Farm, Mr. Bernard Duvernay. Mr. Bernard, please join us for the valedictory session on the dais. a very senior, renowned and respected farrier expert. Please. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, as I have already stated, this has been a wonderful journey, and it is time soon we will be getting departed, but we will keep the momentum on. So let's get started with the small address from Dr. Hasnain Mirza, Senior Vet at the Poonawalla Stud Farm. Dr. Mirza, please.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's an honor to be speaking. I'm going to be very brief because I think we've already extended the time. I was asked to speak on veterinary topics. And veterinary science has come a long way from when we started, Dr. Reddy and I. At that time, all we had in our bag was 2 stomach tubes and syringes, which we would have to boil every day, and drip sets, which we would also have to boil every day. There was no X-ray facility, there was no ultrasound scanners, there were no sleeves for rectal examinations. It was pretty, very basic. We've come a long way from there, and we have really high-powered clinics being set up by Anad, by Feroz. A lot of the stud farms have very, very advanced clinics. Almost everybody has X-ray machines now, and we've really come a long way. 98% of animals in India, animals in the world, are domestic animals. And therefore, veterinary science has a really large role to play in this. And if you just check the statistics, there are over 200,000 horses in India, and we just don't have enough vets. I'm not sure why. Well, I have a fair reason why this is so, because we don't have enough exposure in veterinary colleges to the horse. And I think Dr. Ramanathan will bear me out from Madras Veterinary College. They were exposed to a lot of horses which came from Chettinad stud, mainly for postmortems. So they developed an interest in horses on that. Now, I just hope that a lot more people will come into this field and really take it up, because it's the equine vet is a vanishing breed, actually. So I just hope I have more people come into this field. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will get started officially with the valedictory function. I'll request the technical team. So we'll get started with the national song first, and I'll request all on the dais and in the audience to rise.
Sufalam, Malayaj Sheetalam.
request the technical team to help us with the World Peace Prayer. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Thank you very much. Please have a seat. Thank you, technical team. Moving on, before we call upon Dr. Rahul V. Karad sir for his address, I will request the technical team to please play the World Peace Dome video. Before we play the video, allow me to help you understand the importance of the World Peace Dome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the vision of the respected founder, revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir. A living site of interreligious peace and dialogue, the World Peace Dome constructed at Dome later. Sure. Sure, sir. So the World Peace Dome is constructed at the picturesque Vishwaraj Bagh, Pune. Is not only the largest dome in the world, but a living heritage of harmonious amalgamation of Eastern spiritual peace and Western scientific wisdom, exemplifying the ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. The magnificent structure with 160 feet in diameter and 263 feet height contains 54 larger than life-size bronze statues of many outstanding saints, scientists and philosophers from Sant Jnaneshwar to Albert Einstein. It is an embodiment of establishing a culture of peace and sustainable development that are at the heart of UNESCO's mandate. Ladies and gentlemen, please check out the movie, the film on World Peace Dome.
To promote it in such a way that it evolves as one of the prominent tourism destinations of the world.
21वीं शताब्दी में मेरी भारत माता विश्व गुरु बनने की काबिलियत रखता है. It will become a विश्व गुरु in the 21st century. उसका छोटा सा उदाहरण, छोटा सा सिंबल यहाँ बन गया है, ऐसा मेरा मानना है.
Thank you. Without taking too long, I just want to express my gratitude to Dr. Mirza ji. We have the advisory board members here who are, some of them are available. Dr. Reddy Saab, thank you for supporting this very important initiative and blessing Gayatri. Gaurav Rampal ji, Rohan More ji, Yashan Khambata ji, and Bernard, thank you so much for your presentation. I think there was some paucity of times. This management, for the first time, my team is here trying to build up something like this and supporting Gayatri. So Mr. Judd Puds and Professor Utpal Tatu, thank you so much, all the friends, and of course, Dr. Wadia Saab. I just felt like sharing this film. What we saw just now is a World Peace Dome founded by our founder, and he's basically wanted to come, but because of his age and health issues, he could not participate today. He is basically the promoter of this very institution, the World Peace University, and in our higher education system, some 80,000 students are taking education, my dear friends, in Shillong and Madhya Pradesh and various other parts of the country. We have the institutions, we have some 25 CBSE board schools, and some hospitals also under the aegis of this institution we are running. So the purpose of showing this film was just to communicate to all of you that this institution is not just about imparting just professional degree programs, but all the time the respected dais and all the people sitting here, I want to communicate to all of you that we think beyond, the professional livelihood earning is a very important, but how and what way the student community can be developed for the larger purpose. That is always a quest of our revered founder, Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad, who talks about how do we unify science and spirituality for the society. What was proclaimed long back by Swami Vivekananda is a mission of this organization, and that's how I look at it, my dear friends. This very interest of Gayatri taking a lead, and last 2, 3, 4, 5 years when she was working on this project, particularly her interest at the age of 14, 15, she started riding. And since then, she was getting mature, and at appropriate time, she said she want to build up something like this and evolve her interest into some institutionalized system in the future. So, and me and my system, my wife is not here right now, but we just asked Gayatri that is she really serious about this very business, and she was quite committed and honest, not because of she's my daughter, I want to say something about her, but my father is a teacher of thermodynamics who groomed me in my lifetime now, and I'm heading this educational trust, my dear friends. So I said to Gayatri that this ecosystem here under the aegis of Maharashtra Academy of Engineering and Educational Research, which is our parent body, the trust, with such a large number of student community, there are hardly some 5 to 10 education groups in the country of this size and scale. I said to her that she has to realize that, the urban-rural divide and so many challenges in front of our country, and the evolution in last 77 years of our independence, where we have come, and the prosperity for this evolution, what we have been observing last 15, 20 years also. And much before that, the previous governments have contributed. This government is also developed a wonderful model, and I said to Gayatri that these are some of those 4, 5 areas which influences any society, that the cinema, the politics, the religion, the sports, and of course the education system. They are the people who, at the broader level, if you see, they transform any society, or they have the important strength to transform the society. And that's how I said to some of her friends and everybody that here is a machine, and she said, I want to do something on my own, on independent. I said, good luck to you, move on in your life, and you all have supported, blessed her. And that's how, when I communicated about this very story, I think my academic leader, Vice Chancellor, and the academic board and the governing council, they all felt, yes, we must support this thought process. And that's how the resolution was passed, and we are committed for this particular forum to be backed by this MIT World Peace University, my dear friends. And today, this wonderful show, madam, you did what a fantastic job today morning, I think, very beautifully, and later, sir, you also, I think. And I was really missing out my students today being a Sunday. Very few members were there, but I communicated to Professor Wagh and Professor Sahu that maybe with the help of Mr. More, the Japloop and other Poonawalla group and everybody, sir, if you can support some such shows must happen in different part of the country. I mean to say in the education centers particularly, which I communicated in my even inaugural speech also, my dear friends. Country has some 4.5 crore students in higher education system. And I want to give an example to all of you, just 4 years back, we established one very important body by the name of CIPU, Confederation of Indian Private Universities. I'm sure many of you know the CII and FICCI and ASSOCHAM. These are very important industry bodies. But for some or the other reason, we as an education system, we never came together. I mean to say all the private university system in particular, there are 600 private universities in this country. And we are those 10, 15 important major players in North, East, South, West. And when some of those Indian diaspora people also we requested, and other members also said that we have to support there are some very important academic leaders who are working in that part of the world, in US. All the time we keep learning from some of those countries, and they said, Rahul, sports is such an important thing in United States and our league system, or even the European system also. So how do we develop that culture in India also? So what is that mechanism? So then I said to some of our Indian leaders also, the CIPU must be formed, because in the previous system we all used to work in silos, and not that we have achieved 100%, but I said to all my other vice chancellors and the owners of the private universities that let us have a collaborative competition system must be developed, the collaborative approach. And what little I have spoken to some of you in this yesterday's lot also, and previously also Dr. Wadia, to some of the people whom I know, they said ki equestrian industry may be at some level, the society has not really come that close, and and with 140 crore population, the urban and rural and rich and poor and this diversity, but with overall now our exposure with the social media and everything, I think we all are coming closer, my dear friends. So from that perspective, I requested Gayatri yesterday, if you like, in your vision also, she said, I want to talk to my board and this. I said, okay, please go ahead. But shaping the future of equine industry, she has written. So yesterday night, I could convince her that she has written shaping and democratizing the future of Indian equine industry. So I'm glad that in this forum, the CIPU example I shared just now, from that perspective, the bodies like CII and FICCI and these bodies have really created a solid force in the country for the industrial and the corporate development. But in my education system, what we have been last 43 years, this center we have been running, my dear friends. So we were having challenges. In a similar way, I want to request all those respected members, sir, that because coming people together, and as the World Peace Dome, the film what you saw just now, my father, Revered Dr. Karad, he was himself a thermodynamics teacher. He taught me always, Rahul, जोड़ने के लिए सीखो, लोगों को साथ में लाने के लिए सीखो. And in Marathi they say, राखावी बहुतांची अंतरे आणि भाग्य येते तदनंतर. In the sense, we have to take everybody together. So with that spirit, I think I look at this Equestrain Forum, and Gayatri, good luck to you, and with the blessings of these luminaries sitting on the dais, I hope you keep up to their expectations, the seriousness, and because whenever it comes to horses and all, there is a fashion, there is glamour, there is so much, and in that whole journey, if you really get misleaded in your life, that is not a correct idea. So that's how I look at some of the students also work very hard as volunteers with Professor Sahu and Professor Wagh and all the sports in charges. So I'm very keen that how and what way this benefit is passed on to my education system and overall education system of the country through MIT World Peace University or Confederation of Indian Private University System. That is what little expression I want to communicate to all of you, my dear friends. So once again, I pray that this particular forum and the wonderful gathering evolves as an institution in the vastness of the country for the strengthening overall our, the democracy as well as the sports mission of this country. Thank you, because sports has connected so many people, and one of those largest democracy. We cannot compare ourselves with China. America has their own democratic model with this comparatively much less population. So India has a very unique position, my dear friends. And I look very emotionally, the sports is such a powerful medium. And to connect people, connect mind, beyond caste, creed, religion, and so much. So thank you. There are two Rajas are sitting here, my dear friend Mr. Aniket Raze and Kamalji from the Maharaj from Bastar. Thank you for supporting this cause and all other respected members. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Dear friends, I'm sure many of us who had the question why we are doing this, Dr. Rahul Karad has just answered your question. The vision, clarity, and legacy that follows from the grandfather to the father and then to the granddaughter. With the vision of bringing people together, we are here for the Equine Collective. A big round of applause for MIT World Peace University and the Equine Collective. Moving on from the vision of bringing people together, what really have we achieved? let me call upon the visionary, dynamic, young leader, which is in the shaping, Ms. Gayatri Karad, to the forefront to give away the declaration of the conference and propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you everyone, to whoever is present here. Over the last 2 days, we have all got a chance to come under one roof, have dialogues, meet with old friends, and talk about all of our horsey issues and the way ahead. The Equestrain Forum was just a start, but now our real work begins through smaller training workshops, camps, and our collective consciousness for the Skill Development Center. An action plan must be made for the next steps, and post-forum, as the founder and convener for this forum, we assure you that the Equine Collective will do its best efforts to follow through with our smaller initiatives, increasing awareness about our industry and raising education standards. In the last 2 days, a lot of gaps that came up, that we lacked educational training of farriers, equine vets, coaches, so many regulatory issues. And even during the conversations with the ministers, new problems came up with rural livelihood and integration of fodder standards. However, I do think that this forum is not just to talk about our problems, and it is to carve out solutions for the next generation and through the next initiative that we will be building. So our next steps are obviously, as I mentioned, the Skill Development Center that we will be launching in the next month or so. We also want to work on building a digital platform for all of the members that are present in the equine industry. Last but not the least, I would like to just extend my vote of thanks to all of the advisors that have really shaped and institutionalized this initiative. Dr. Reddy, Dr. Mirza, Dr. Vadia, Rohan More, Bernard, Yuta, Gaurav Rampal, Diana, Yashan, and Dr. Tatu. Without all of you, none of this would have been possible. You have been an institutional support. I thank all of the MIT team, Professor Sahu, Professor Wagh, Piyush ji, and the rest of the team. Forgive me if I've missed any names. I hope all of you had a wonderful 2 days, and I'm looking forward to connect, collaborate, and co-create with all of you. Thank you all for coming here. I wish you all the best for the future, and I hope that we can get connected and work on ground as well. This was just an initiative where all of us can come together and have dialogues, but I think now our real work begins. So thank you, everyone. Please have lunch, and thank you. Thank you. Forgive me, everyone, if I've, if there were any gaps that are left from our team and from my side as well. For the next forum, we will be bigger, better, and stronger. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, connect, collaborate, and co-create. With that vision in mind, we all shall continue to extend this dialogue. We promise you soon we will be coming out with the official paper of resolution and a complete report of this conference, which will be shared with each one of you individually. At the same time, we'll be connecting with the state government of Maharashtra, and the same report with the government. We will be moving it to the center. Moving on, I would like to propose the technical team to help us with the national anthem. At the same time, after that, the program will be concluded. Before we conclude, I will just request everyone. Perfect. Yes. So I'll request you to join us for the lunch at the Jnaneshwar Hall. We will all walk towards it together. Before we move into the hall, we will click a group photograph on the stairs of the Jnaneshwar Hall. In the background, there is a wonderful Jnaneshwar Murti. So with the blessings, I would request the technical team to play the national anthem. I request everyone to please rise.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे